Good evening, Ed Grindelski, Chair of the Town Council. I'll call the meeting to order. Let's see, what are we doing here? One, two. For roll call purposes, is Jonathan on? Okay, so councils are present except Jonathan, and I don't know if he. Oh, okay, well, so all council members are accounted for. Jonathan is absent, but the rest are here. Item 3, interviews of boards and commission applicants. First applicant is Andre Brooks, appointment to the Planning and Zoning Commission. Would you come forward? You can sit at the table. Yep. And you can push the button as long as the green light would be on. Okay. Could you tell us a little bit about yourself and what got you interested in the Planning and Zoning Commission?
Okay, I currently work at, is that okay? I currently work at WINY Radio. I've been there for a year. And I was sent to my first town meeting last year, and I really enjoyed it. I got sent to a couple of more. I was like, I really enjoyed it. I think the bug started to kind of grow a little bit. And then we had election night, and I really enjoyed that. So I was like, I really like this. I just like the political, I just like the behind the scenes. I just like sitting in the meetings and listening to whether it's the residents voicing their opinions or just the democracy of it. That's what I like. I came last night and sat in the meeting last night, and it was very enlightening. I learned a lot of things. I walked away feeling like I wish I would have known this stuff earlier. I feel like I'm kind of late in the game, but it's never too late to get involved with things. As you know, working for the radio, I feel like it's a young person's game type of thing, but I've been doing that for a year, and I'm in a point in my life where I'm just trying different things that I really like, and this is one of the aspects that I'm really gravitating toward too. So I actually went to the library 2 months ago to drop off some books for my mother-in-law, and I saw the big thing saying volunteers needed, and I was like, oh wow, you can like just apply to do this thing. So I called and I talked to Miss Fell, and here I am.
So you went to last night's meeting. That was a wetlands meeting.
Yes.
Which was, and you saw, yes, that's what, they made a decision last night. It was an interesting decision. It's a long thing going. Same thing with planning and zoning, which you were looking for the planning and zoning. And you're saying too late, but it's never too late to jump on board.
Yes.
And it's a learning experience all the way around. We don't expect you to know all the answers, or I don't, let's put it that way. Like I said, it's a learning curve. And we appreciate you coming forward, because we're looking for people for boards and commissions. It's all volunteer. So you are sticking your neck out. It's, but we appreciate that. Anybody else have any comments? Oh, Pulo.
Have you read Killingly's Plan of Conservation and Development?
I have not yet.
You haven't read it yet? How long? Where are you from? You've been in Killingly for a year?
I was in Putnam for 5 years.
Oh, okay.
I just moved to Killingly last July.
Okay. So the residents of Killingly are at the top of the chain of command, and I know that the planning and zoning commissioners have a lot of difficult decisions but would you listen to the people and what they want if it's the majority, because they are at the top of the chain of command?
Last night, when I was at the meeting, I realized it's a difficult position to be in. One, I could understand where I keep saying clients, the residents of Killingley felt strongly emotional about certain things, but I can understand as a commission, you have to make decisions sometimes that's based on the greater good of the city versus, you're not gonna please everyone. I felt like some people were pleased, some people weren't. I think you gotta have tough skin because people will get upset and they have very opinionated comments to say, and you can't let it affect you. But I think everyone's just trying to do it for the best of the interests of the city. And some people might not see it that way, but I think that's just how you have to do it.
Thank you.
Any other?
Just curious, what led you to planning and zoning of all the boards and commissions? What made you so appealing to you?
I went to my first town meeting in Plainfield about the Costco, and the people almost ran them out of the building. And I was like, wow, like people. I like the fact that the people were heard, and I like the fact that they had a voice. But I also like to see how it works, the machine, like behind the scene, like the application process. Like I was reading that, you guys go to site visits and walk around. Like there's a lot of investigative things that are done. So you're not just sitting there making decisions based on your emotions. It's based on all this data that's collected. So a bug just grew in me that I was like, I think I really like this. So it was like 1, I went to 2, I went to 3. And I said, I think I'm just gonna give it a shot. I just something I've always liked kind of politics. I like the democracy. I like that teamwork. I like how opinions and thoughts are morphed into a decision that's for the greater good.
Dave?
So you moved from Putnam to Killenly. What do you like about Killenly?
It's a little more to do. I think it's a lot bigger. It's not as the community I live in is a lot more, I would say, friendly. I feel it's more welcoming. I like the schools. My daughter went to, she started kindergarten, but they had like this pre-kindergarten camp before she went to kindergarten. I just feel like it's a very friendly city in my opinion, and. Just every day, just going out, I just like it. I just feel like it's a nice place to be. It's a nice place to live. My neighborhood is really nice. So, Putnam's a nice town, obviously, but I like this. I like living in Killenly.
There's always that controversy to a certain degree. How much of the town do you really want to have developed, and how much of the town do you want to have it keep the rural character?
I think it's based on the need of the city, like the need of, the average person, like far as job development or preservation of wetlands. Like, I could see that was a very touchy subject last night. People really want to preserve these wetlands, so I can understand that as well. It's a 50-50 the way I saw it, So, you can kind of see both sides, but you got to look at the bigger picture. How does this benefit the town? Because it's about the town. It's not about my individual likes or dislike. It's about how do I better the town, beautify it, or to allow it to grow economically, so people can have more jobs and, depending on what the economic state is.
You only have one daughter.
I have 4.
4? 4 daughters?
Yes.
I
Yep,
thought I was bad. I only got 3.
got 4.
And they're older?
Yes, I have a 31-year-old, I have a 21-year-old, I have a 16 and a 6.
You certainly like to have punishment, huh?
Yes,
Thank you.
thank you.
Any other comment? Tammy?
Well, I think your perspective is really good, because you're coming at it, because there's regulations you have to follow. It's not your own personal opinions. There are zoning rules and regulations. There's classes, I believe, that they're offered. Brian, correct? They send you out to learn the regulations. That's how you make your decisions, that's how you govern. It's not your personal opinions, and I'm glad to see that you're understanding that there is a bigger picture, you know, it's the greater good. And I think Dave's right. I mean, there's certain sections of town that are much more developed than other sections, and some areas are more residential than they are commercial, and, you know, so I think we have a pretty good balance right now. I know the POCD, or the Plan of Conservation Development, is supposed to be coming up soon, for probably, we should be getting going to do another review of that. It's every 10 years we review it and update it, and to move, but it's all about moving the town forward. You know, stagnation's not a good thing. My question is, I'm kind of surprised, because working at the radio station, is that going to be like a conflict for you at all, or?
No, the radio station was another aspect of my life that I've always wanted to try radio. It came in the free circle one day. I said, I think I want to try it. I called them, hey, you know, do I have to be experienced? They said, if you're willing to learn. I went down there, and I've been here for a year. I do the Saturday morning show, 6 to 9, by the way. 6 to 9, every Saturday morning, me and Brendan Palmetier. But they usually, before John, I don't know for those who listen to WIY, but John Mahan left in July 1st. He was big on these town meetings. He's the one that got me started. There's no, it's unbiased. It's not like, we don't go to these with an agenda of like, we're pro anything. It's just, we're just reporting the news. We're just telling the public, this is what happened, this is what the verdict is. The public can make a decision on that. So there's no conflict. You know,
Okay.
like, it's not like I went to Gary O and said, hey, I'm gonna join the plan. He doesn't even know, this is just my thing that I wanna do because I secretly love it. And if I wasn't at Winnie, I would still be here applying.
So you said you lived in Putnam
Yes.
for, you lived in Putnam before you lived in Gilman. Where'd you live before that?
Yeah.
The
I
reason I
live-
say is because you keep referring to this as a city, and usually something that comes from the city will refer to. So I'm trying to wrap my head around.
I mean, originally I'm from Boston,
Yeah.
then I lived in Worcester, Webster, and then Southbridge, Putnam.
That's quiet.
Yeah.
So you've raised your daughters in those. So you've raised your daughters in those cities, and you've moved down here now?
Yes.
Okay. Just want to put it in perspective for myself. Thank you.
So you're looking to be, because the only position we have is an alternate member on planning and zoning. You can be involved in all the discussion as an alternate. If there's any votes as an alternate, you wouldn't be engaged in a vote. But if a regular member is missing, that's when you could be moved up to a regular member. So,
Yeah, so that last night that happened, there was people that couldn't vote.
right, the alternates, because all the regular members were present.
Yes.
Yes, so the two alternates. Well, even, last night was a unique experience too, because they could not partake in the original discussion of the first item.
Yes.
So that was a whole different, that was the exception to every rule, I think. But after that, then they could speak on the other items. But they couldn't vote last night because the regular members were all present. Are there any other comments? Anything else you would like to add? I mean,
I just thank you for this opportunity. Again, just like the radio station, I didn't think I would be doing a radio show. I didn't think I'd be sitting in front of a piano wanting to be on the Planning and Zoning Commission. But, you know, at this point in my life, I'm 52 years old. You know, I just want to try things out and, you know, go to the second phase of my life and just not wonder what could have been, or not wonder, and just go out and just try things out. And just jump in with both feet, see what happens.
I appreciate that. It's great. It's really good. You know, because we're looking for people, so that's a great attitude to have. So we will review your application next week, and we'll vote on your application, and we will be in touch. You can be in the audience if you want, or you can watch it on TV, whatever the case might be. But you don't have to be present next week.
Okay.
It's up to you. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Do I press this button?
And Kevin Thompson, oh, okay. Reappointment to the KB Ambulance. So how long have you been on the KB Ambulance?
3.5 years. January of '23 is when I
Okay.
joined.
So, and you glutton for more punishment?
I am.
You know, if you want to make some comments, leave that up to you, whatever.
I
whatever you wanna-
actually joined the board because a friend of mine who was on the board at the time saw me at my daughter's parent-teacher conferences and said, "I need your help." I said, "Okay, well, what do you need help with?" He goes, "I know you're good with money." I'm like, "All right, so what do you need help with?" And he's like, I just joined the KB Ambulance Board, and there's new leadership, and they don't have a budget. And I need some help figuring that out. So that's the main reason why I joined, because in the past 3 years, we've run in the black. So we're doing well in terms of the finances. I think we've got it in good shape. There's definitely some landscape changes happening right now in Eastern Connecticut with, first responders and things that are going on with the hospital and everything else. So I think it's good to have people that have experience and have been there for a while still on the board, because then we can understand the landscape and help them make good decisions.
Yeah, it's an important ambulance, very important function. And we've been debating it, different things, what kind of service. I mean, a few times they've been here, like, trying to understand exactly the different nuances. As long as they show up, I'm happy with that, when it's needed on whatever circumstance.
Yeah, and in the past 2 years, when I believe it was AMR left Dave Kimball for doing the transfers and stuff, we've helped pick some of those up with that. So it was an added thing into our services, but 911 is still continue to be our top priority for the towns that we serve. So it's always important to make sure that we're here for the community. And the last 2 years, I've actually served as the vice chair for the board, so.
Dave?
You have anything to do with the paramedic intercepts?
No. See, I'm the only one on the board that has no first responder experience, which I think brings a better perspective sometimes, because I'm not necessarily beholden to just focusing on, the job itself. I try to take a bigger picture look at things, especially when it comes to the budget and the finances.
For many years, I asked this question, I never got an answer. And you probably can't answer it either. The paramedic intercepts. If you're already out on a call, or if you have, I think, 4 paramedic intercepts or 5?
I don't know off the top of my head. It's 3 or 4, I think.
And if they're all out, what do we do? Do we tone out for another paramedic intercept somewhere else to cover us?
Generally, if we're unable to go to a call, there's always mutual aid that then goes to the next community that's available. that's how it works, even us,
So-
even for us. So if we're not the primary responder to a community in the area, if there's more need for help, we'll be the mutual aid and we'll come and help with whatever the service is needed.
But the question I always ask, how many do we actually?
I don't know off the top of my
No,
head.
you probably can't.
I don't know off the top of my head.
That can't respond. That was the question that I always had. If they were already busy somewhere else.
Well, yeah, I mean, we if we're already in the middle of something, we're not gonna stop doing what we're doing to respond to something else. The calls from a 911 perspective go through a certain sequence.
Right.
You know, obviously for KB ambulance, there are the towns that we're primary for, and then there are mutual aid towns around us, and vice versa. So.
Thank you.
Tammy?
So the paramedic intercept, there's one that's, I believe, stationed at Day Kimball for the northern areas, because that's the COG thing. And then there's one that's stationed at, that runs out of the Danielson for the lower southern area towns. And then the town, I believe, pays for a 5 days a week ALS?
There's additional ALS coverage that's built into our contract with KB ambulance, that covers us like a week during the day shift, some days a week.
Correct.
I don't know the exact hours on top of my head. There's a run card system, that's the protocol for the backup, so that's already addressed in the dispatch system. Who needs the backup for certain towns or certain agencies.
So, and then if 911 dispatches, let's say the COG paramedic, and the call gets downgraded and they're needed someplace else, then that's why they have the fly card that they leave
Right.
from that location.
Because they can fly to the next call.
And they just keep going, like, yeah, they fly to the next call.
So what part of the billing do you do?
I mean, the board doesn't do any of the billing stuff. We're just making sure that the budget's in good shape. So like we just went over the budget for this year. And, you know, last year, again, we were in the black. So it's running efficiently. The new leadership with the chief and the new operations manager that we brought on a couple years ago, it's going well. You know, there's always challenges for staffing in this industry. So there's always that. It just never seems like we have enough. And then when we think we have enough, you know, people move on. So it's just the way it is.
People that call up that just want to ride to the hospital?
There aren't a lot of those calls. Not generally, no.
But that kind of a call you wouldn't get paid for.
If they wanted just a ride to the hospital, if they call
know
and say,
what
"Hey,
I
I need a
mean.
ride," if they're calling 911, then we'll respond, and we'll take them to the hospital if that's needed. But nobody calls the ambulance center directly and says, "Hey, I want a ride."
Well, they use other terms.
I think you're talking about like a nuisance call, somebody who's using 911 that doesn't need to, or maybe somebody that needs a non-emergency transport to the hospital. There are different ambulance services that do that, where you can arrange a ride in an ambulance that's not emergency based.
So what I was trying to get at,
That's very rare.
those kind of calls, you don't, if they don't have insurance,
That's not a factor for us because it generally is like we go to the call, we do the service, whatever's provided, whatever's needed, and then the insurance thing takes care of itself on the back end.
but if they don't have insurance,
That we still treat them.
thank you.
Since the board's responsible for the finances and you know what's actually going on at KB Ambulance, I'd
Mhm.
like to request that, so this is gonna be the 4th year that we request a breakdown of expenses. And, what we get is very vague. And it's supposed to be broken down between the municipalities equally based on their, what usage they get from KB Ambulance. I think that statement should come from the board and not have Steve Vargas make it up with, you know, he's guessing information.
So what are you requesting specifically?
Like when we ask for, when the KB ambulance asks the town for financial assistance, it should be based on, it's based on expenditures. And there's really not, any way that the difference between, the transport for, Dave Kimball and, it's not different.
Those are different. That's
Yeah,
it.
but it's not
The
different.
transfers and the 911s are completely different budget, different types of calls, different services.
But it's not differentiated in their, expenses when we get them.
So let me ask you a question. You have other vendors that supply services to the town. Do you ask for a complete transparency in their budget and you get to see that completely from
do.
top to bottom, all their
Yes.
expenses, all their revenue?
Yes, we do.
You do?
We do.
Okay. I'm very skeptical on that, but,
We do.
okay.
Anybody else?
I can just speak to Mr. Thompson's character. I've known him for a long time through coaching mutually. He's donated many, many years as being a volunteer, so I always appreciate that. It's always well appreciated.
Thank you.
I can also attest, I've known Kevin a really long time. Watched his kids grow up, and it makes me feel really old seeing how old his kids have gotten. But it's, he's really good. He manages, does a personal finance course for at our church. He's done it multiple times, so if anybody can straighten the bills out, I know he's done a good job. And KB's is struggling just like all other emergencies, but you know, they're still standing. It's been almost 90 years and they're still serving Killenly and Brooklyn, so and serving, and Dave, they don't get it. You know, there are people that will call and they will hold on to my foot's, I can't walk on my foot, and that's all they did was so they could get to the hospital. And sometimes they think riding in the ambulance they'll get seen faster. No, they'll triage you when you come in, and you'll get put in the hallway just like everybody else, but or out in the waiting room. But it's but yeah, in healthcare you don't get to choose. The call comes across, you can get a service and provide the care that you're supposed to do. And I appreciate the time and the effort you put in. It's really a thankless job. The ambulance is a rough job to have to run and manage.
There we go. Do you still have volunteers? Or everybody's
Not as many
paid?
as we used to. About 2 years ago, we switched more to a paid staff model. We still have per diems, but there are a few volunteers still left.
Not drivers?
I don't know if they drive or not, but
So it's an opportunity if people wanted to get involved, they could volunteer?
yeah, I'm sure they could reach out. It's the model that we've turned to is to make sure that we're providing the best possible services to the communities that we serve. So volunteers are great, but oftentimes they come in and they're interested, but they're not as trained as we'd like them to be. So it's sometimes tough to because then you have to invest in the training and stuff for them. So,
Thank you.
but yes, we still have volunteers, just not as much as we used to.
A lot of their drivers are the EMR
Yeah.
level providers. They can actually help with the patient care, but usually, because their training is not as advanced as an EMT or a medic, they're usually the ones driving in the front.
Yeah. Correct.
Any other comments?
We appreciate your going for reappointment, you know.
Thank you.
We need this, so thank you very much.
Yes, thank you.
We'll discuss it next week at our meeting, and you can be at the meeting, or if you're not here, we will be in touch with what.
All right, appreciate
what our
it.
decision is.
Thank
Thank you very much. Next on the agenda is public comment. Public comment would have to be only with respect to item on the town meeting, on the agenda tonight. Okay, see no one, okay. Old business, none, new business, interview, Jared Brown, now you can come up.
Hello.
Thank you very much. We're glad that you were interested in the position. And then, like I said, the town committee, we had a good interview.
Yep.
So could you give us a little bit of a background?
Yep.
And we'll go from there.
So, my name's Jared. I'm 36. I was born in the area in Putnam. I went to school here through high school. Had lived in Florida for about a year and joined the Army. From there, I came back up here to join the Connecticut Army National Guard. I had done a deployment to Afghanistan. I went to QVCC here for college. I have 2 children. We live down past Big Y on Robert Ave. But we've had a home here the last 3 years. We've been raising our kids here. I've been paying a lot more attention to everything that's been happening this year. Just with, obviously, there's been a lot of things that are making local news and things like that. So I started coming to more meetings, town council meetings and inland wetlands committee meetings and planning and zoning meetings, and just paying more attention. I've always considered public service in a way to just utilize my skill set to help people and make the place that I live better. And that's what brings me here today.
Any questions? Oh, Ula, go ahead.
You're lucky, Jared. I forgot all of my questions at home.
I'm about 80 pages in to the document. I have it saved on my computer. I'm about 80 pages in now, so I have been reading through it.
It's a lot. So I've seen you at several planning and zoning, inland wetlands, water course. They're a lot longer than the town council.
Yes, they've been going late.
So in regards to balanced development and keeping the rural quality of Killingley, what are your thoughts on, so Connecticut had designated like I-395 corridor as a development area. There was supposed to be incentives to develop, but of course there's no incentives. So, and you've listened to the people, how they're very upset about the overdevelopment. So, and I've said multiple times at the meeting that the residents are at the top of the chain of command. So would you listen to the residents if it was the majority and abide by what they want for the town?
Yes, that I think is the point of public service, is to do right by the people, and I know that there was discussion earlier on the greater good and the bigger picture, so there's an aspect to that, but if you're gonna make a decision that might not align with the public's current view, then there has to be transparency and explanation to the public as to why it is to their benefit. And if given that information, they are still opposed to it, and they're the ones that have to live here and pay property taxes, that is what pays for the services that we have here in the town, then I think that they're gonna have the final say. But I think a big part of that is the transparency piece. So as changes are being made and developments are being planned, it's why it is to the benefit of the town, not just that it is going to be done regardless. I think the reason that there would be a lack of transparency on certain issues would be that there is not a benefit that would outweigh the negatives, is my opinion on it.
Whatever, go ahead. Anybody else? Well, as being a member of the town council, you would be appointing the members of Planning and Zoning Commission, Wetlands, all the various boards and commissions. So it's a little bit of removal from the direct citizen participation itself. But again, the citizenry, they've come here. We've had a few long meetings, not quite as long as Planning and Zoning, but they've been, we get the issues are the same. And to try to resolve them, I think I want to be open and let everybody have their view and whatnot. So, but in the case of this, you would be appointing members to the boards and commissions.
Correct.
So it's a different situation, you know?
I think with that, it's thoughtfulness on interview questions, doing my due diligence into the candidates that I would be interviewing for those positions, the amount of effort that they put into that interview and to their research into that committee or that board and what they do, is how I would be able to do my part in that regard, from where I sit here.
But it's like, it's interesting, because you've been participating, you've been at the various boards and commissions where a lot of people don't, you put a lot of time already that you get a good idea of what is going on. So
Yes.
it's nice to have that kind of background coming on board here, that it's not totally walking off the street. And, but we appreciate you coming forward.
Absolutely.
Go ahead.
So I like the answers to the question about being thoughtful, asking questions. So I don't believe just because somebody comes and is applying for a board and commission that they should receive that position. Okay, I have a question in regards to Old Killingly Pond, because it doesn't only affect the residents or in the area. What part do you think that the town should play in trying to resolve that issue? Because it's deep, wish the town, but in effect, it's going to affect everybody's water.
It's going to affect everybody's water. I also foresee there being cost implications down the road with repairs that would be needed should that road need to be rebuilt. And then the waterfront properties are no longer going to be assessed at the same value, so they're not going to be taxed at the same tax assessment. So that's going to need to be made up somewhere. As far as what role the town plays, I have been trying to pay attention very closely to that to find out what is the best path forward. Last night, I was watching throughout the inland wetlands meeting, which went on not too late. It was like 10 p.m. where they wrapped up talking about Old Killingly Pond. I think that there needs to be, what would the word be? People need more fire to get it done and not just planning abstract discussions at some point in the future. Listening to Justin speak about it, and he's sent me a lot of information on it. There's about a 3-month window that we have before Wish would declare bankruptcy, so it's not something that can just be kicked a month down the road each and every month, and again, the thoughtful abstract of there being a discussion or a meeting, but with nothing set in stone. And I think that there needs to be more done outside of just the meeting times where people are coming together to get something done about it, because we are going to run out of time with the Old Killingly Pond. There's the right now the ownership issue. Deep has bonds available, but that would mean that the current owner would need to apply through Deep for those bonds, which they're not going to do because their end goal is to go bankrupt in a couple of months. They don't want to continue taking on that dam. They own that dam and several others. They are willing to donate that dam as well as the Acme Dam, and costs or monies to repair the dam. That would put us in a position, if we had some sort of ownership, or if there was a group of residents that came together to take over that ownership, where now we have an active owner and can seek bond money through Deep. Otherwise, there is bond money available for a situation like this, but there is no way to access that bond money because we don't have any kind of connection to that property to do so. I don't have an exact, concise plan, but I can tell you that I would put a lot of time and effort into making something happen there, bringing people together to talk about it, to get something done. I am able to get things done. On short notice, if I have a goal, then that is my focus, and I am going to do whatever needs to be done to meet that goal.
Thank you.
Anyone else? Tammy?
So, I'm glad to hear that you're willing to put the, because to do your council job really well, it's not just, and Adam's found this out, there's a lot of outside the meeting, work that needs to be done, and so, it's not, I mean, it's definitely a large commitment, because you got your 2 meetings a month, plus there's we're liaisons to different boards and commissions, and attending those and giving reports on those. I'm kind of, you know, my district is primarily District 1. I do go to all the ribbon cuttings throughout town, but, you know, our business community is really the lifeblood that's gonna keep us going. They provide jobs, they support our school fundraisers, they support our local teams. So making sure that our business community is their needs are being met. I've been working a lot with Mariah over at Mariah's Photography over there on Water Street. She was had a lot of concerns, and I reached out to the town manager, and you know, they've gone out to assess her area and for possibility for cameras and stuff like that, and you know, there's a lot of, you know, just, I don't want you to think that, you know, there's a lot of time that you have to put in.
Yep.
So just want you to.
That's I am so.
I work nights, so that's why I'm all over the place during the day, because, you know.
I do know that it's a time commitment. I know that there's going to be work outside of just the meetings themselves. As Ula had mentioned, as I've said previously, I have been putting that time in currently without being on any board or committee or council, because I care. I am very interested in what's going on here in the town. I would like to see progress on issues that we're facing, working together cohesively to that effect. I do not have an issue with the time commitment. My children are 4 and 6. 7 p.m. is typically when they are in bed. I have a flexible schedule. I am a residential sales manager for a solar team. I work hybrid. I'm home a lot, working from home, but I set my schedule and I make my hours. But I do care very much about the issues going on in town, and I put my time and attention and my focus into the things that I care about. This right now is largely one of them.
Okay, I'm not saying
No.
that you couldn't, but I just you know, there's a little more than just the council meeting, so.
Yep.
And I'm glad that you're open to putting that legwork in, because it's really important to understanding that big picture.
And
So,
it's needed to be effective in a position like this. You can't do so with 2 nights a month to take care of or to know what's going on throughout the whole town, and the population that we have.
At 50 square miles, there's 18,000 people in that 50 square miles, there's a lot of stuff going on.
Yes, a lot more than two nights a month.
Dave?
So, have the people at Old Kilney Pond formed any kind of a homeowners association?
I don't believe you do.
Killenly Pond Residents Association.
Is it an actual HOA? So yes, they have. They have an actual HOA. It's the Killingly
So
Residents.
does that
Killingly Pond.
include the residents that are in Rhode Island that are also on the water?
Yes, it does.
And that,
Glad you told me.
and that total number is what, 28?
Around the pond or in the?
Around the pond? Or anyone that wanted to join the homeowners association? It's not exclusionary to only living on the pond.
Right. Int- Are you going in the direction for ownership of the dam?
No, I'm just trying to get some clarification.
Okay.
Just like, when is the DEP coming to inspect?
Right now, I believe the plan, the next thing that's supposed to take place is the equipment. The mini excavator and the pads are supposed to go down to remove the debris pile for that inspection.
But they have to get Wish's permission, correct?
No, that's Wish's engineer that's planning.
Wish is the one that's initiating that?
Yes, as far as I know, yes. But then last night, it was raised at the inland wetlands meeting that the Army Corps of Engineers might not be okay with them taking that mini excavator down there because it's wetlands, and that those pads that the mini excavator would sit on are considered a substrate. So they were going to contact the Army Corps of Engineers to see if they had any thoughts on that being done. And that was supposed to have already been done last month.
So we're waiting for that decision from Army Corps, and we're waiting from DEP to do the inspection.
We're not, so DEP would be waiting for that excavator to go remove that boulder to do the inspection. But the Army Corps of Engineers was only brought up last night. I don't know that anybody has contacted them last night because it was only pointed out to them that they should be contacted at that meeting last night. So I don't know that Army Corps of Engineers is in play yet for their decision unless somebody reached out today. But again, we would have just started waiting on that last night.
So do you know what the liability insurance is on those dams?
I do not. I could certainly find out.
Because no matter who owns it, you've got to have liability insurance.
Yeah. I think they had said what the total expenses were, like 11 to 13,000 a year? 12? 12,000 a year was what they said the total expenses were for maintenance, and I would assume.
Taxes, their vegetation removal and insurance.
And what does it cost for yearly maintenance?
That's within that 12,000. It shouldn't be. I assume it's gonna cost more, but that's probably also why we're in
No,
this
but-
situation.
Liability is if something happens, there's a breach.
Right.
Ongoing maintenance is a different story.
I'm saying that 12,000 is what Wish claims they spend a year to operate and maintain that
So you
dam.
think it's included in that?
Correct, but again, that figure would be too low just based on the situation we're in now. So obviously that dam's maintenance, if it falls under that $12,000 a year, is not adequate maintenance based on what we are seeing here and now.
So do you know what the dams are made of?
I could certainly find out.
Well, you weren't around and neither was I when they built them, so
No, we.
I don't know what kind of records you're gonna find, that's all.
I would probably. I was gonna say he is my subject matter expert for all things that have to do with that dam,
Or all the dams.
or all of the dams. Yes, and Justin has been tracking the dams pretty well in the town of Killingly, not just the old Killingly Pond Dam.
So there was a fill pipe for the fire companies to come and fill. Is that still there?
I was gonna say the fill pipe might be there, but I would imagine if it is there that they're not able to fill off
No,
of.
because the water level's so low.
Correct. Is the fill pipe still there? I have not seen a fill pipe.
So I would imagine that the East Killenly Fire Company had some kind of agreement to go there and fill at one time.
I don't know. I'm not sure. Well, he's not gonna know that either.
No, I'm just trying to get you acclimated to
Yeah,
to get as much information as you possibly can.
the East Killingly Fire Department, you
Yes.
said? I'll find out.
I mean, because you need to see the whole picture of everything as you get into this deeper and deeper. I'm all set.
Okay. Anybody else? Any? When we talked a little while ago, you were asking me, how do you get a prize of all this stuff? It's a learning curve. It's an exposure scenario, just like last night. The Army Corps of Engineers wasn't in the picture. All of a sudden, it's there. So we've got to, react to what's happening. So,
Yep.
I appreciate, you coming forward, and,
Absolutely.
we'll see we'll discuss we'll discuss next week. You can be at the meeting if you want. You'll hear it in person, you can watch it or whatever, and then we will be in touch. But I'm glad you came forward. Thank you
Awesome.
very much.
Thank you guys very much. Good night, guys.
Ed, if, like when, Adam was voted on, if he's here, would Kelsey have to be here to? Okay. So he really probably should be here next week then?
If
He could get sworn in and take a seat
he
right
can,
then.
if that's,
Put him at the top of the
okay,
agenda.
we can
and-
bring that up.
Yeah,
That's
so
fine.
we,
No, I wasn't, I didn't think about that. The other time, we were more under the gun, but that's, we
We
might as well
already
get
are.
him on board right away. We can have his interview at the beginning of the meeting, and then he can participate.
yeah, you can take the agenda items out of order.
Right,
It'll
right.
appear at a
So
certain
what
place
we
on the
will do-
agenda. We've
okay.
already made arrangements with the town clerk
All right.
in anticipation of this, for her to be at the
So I'll
meeting.
be in touch with him and let him know that we can do that. Okay.
Make a motion to adjourn.
Second? All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, we are adjourned.